this house. So I wanted to do this live because I didn't want to forget to upload this video because there's so many videos that did not get uploaded. But what I wanted to share with you guys is, if you have an ancestor that you feel that you are drawn to, that you're close to, it's very important to acknowledge them and call them by their name, right? Even if it's just to spend a little time thinking quietly about them, right? So me, in my family, my grandfather was born on Christmas Day, right? So Christmas was important to him. But his mother also died the day after he was born. So there is a transition of life coming and life going at the exact same time. And so what I try to do every year in honoring, one of the ways you honor your ancestors is, of course, play their music, make them offerings, and do their dances. And so some people might see me go out on Christmas Day and they think, oh, she's doing that, she's having a good time. It's really to honor the birth of my grandfather, and the day after Christmas is to honor the death of his mother, because she died the day after he was born. And so I feel a very close akin to that particular great grandmother, because she was a young mother and she was pretty much, I would say, tricked. I don't want to get into the entire family history of things, but she fell pregnant for her sister's husband, okay, which makes my one side of the family cousins and another side of the family brothers and sisters. So don't judge, right? But this is the same bloodline that gave you a lot of musicians out of Jamaica. One of the most powerful ones that the world knows is Luciano. He is a direct descendant of our family tree, right? So she fell pregnant, this particular ancestor, she fell pregnant for her sister's husband, and he was a Caucasian man, and he abused his power, and she was a child. And she died the day after giving birth. So she gave birth on Christmas Day and died the next day. So for me, being able to acknowledge her is important, because my grandfather never knew his mother. He was raised by his mother's sister, the same sister who was with this white guy, and so she had to turn around and raise this illegitimate child of her sister who died giving birth by her man. So I don't know. Okay, it's a lot of trifling stuff. A lot of stuff happened. But I don't have a photo of that great grandmother, but I have photos of me. And so I use her photos for every ancestor that I don't have a picture of. I use a picture of myself, because they are me. They are their blood is in me, their collective memory is in me, their experience is in me, all of their stuff is in me, right? And so, oh god, these mosquitoes are serious. They're like machete with wing, blurt not. Yeah. So anywho, so I went out Christmas Day, Christmas evening. Jojo is with her Swahili family. I went out and I had a good time. and I dance for the people who cannot dance, could not dance, who have been deceased. And then I have my quiet time the day after Christmas, because that is the remembrance of this person, from who I descend from. And so, when you are venerating your ancestors or worshiping your ancestors or remembering your ancestors, it's important to remember that they are you and you are them. Okay, there's nothing wrong with using your own photo to recall their spirit, their energy, to acknowledge who they are, to use that on your altar as you remember their passing, right? Because this child that died the day after childbirth, my great grandmother, look at what her great granddaughter did. And my grandfather, who died, what year? He died about what, 20? Lord, I must get him serious. He died about 2011, right? But he was born on Christmas Day. And he was made of something serious, right? He left his family home. He went to Kingston. I used to sit and talk with him and hear all of his stories. So you people out there, spend some time and talk to your old people, right? They have a lot to say. And I have been interviewing old people from the day my born. I interview them to find out everything about them. Where you born, where your name, where you come from, who are your mother, who are your father, where your mother there, all that stuff. I asked my grandparents. I know things about my grandfather that my mother does not know. So this side of the family I'm speaking of is my maternal side. So I'm speaking about my mother's side of the family. And she don't know a whole heap of things that I know, because I asked my grandfather, and I had to ask him. We spent a lot of time together. So I guess perfume is not a good thing to wear in the wilderness. I'm coming in from the club. I was out enjoying myself. I was out dancing for who couldn't dance, and enjoying myself for those who couldn't enjoy. And that's how Jamaican people venerate and respect everybody them dance. I don't even think they know that's what they're doing, but me know that's what I'm doing. Oh, this tide is really coming in. Check it out. And the sun is coming up. So I know a lot of people say that those people them dead and gone, and them, but you know what, their collective experiences are what is ingrained in us. That collective experience of what a person went through creates us, right? The things that I went through and the things that I am teaching JoJo now is going to shape and create her in the future. And so she is going to find a way to respect that, right? To honor that. It's not like they live and die and them dead and gone. My grandfather was something serious. He worked his way up. From him I learned about work ethic. He started out, I think he was like 12 when his first job, he said he was picking up, he was at the time in Kingston, before there were tram cars in Kingston, there were horse and buggy, right? And when they introduced the tram cars, the horse and buggy was still in method. And so he had to, he was the kid who would pick up dung behind the horse and buggy, right? And when that, when he said, okay, I wasn't born to pick up horse manure behind a horse for the rest of my life, he said, okay, he met this man who was delivering milk. And from the milk deliveries, he learned, he learned the business. And so from there, he realized that, okay, milk delivery is not going to really take care of me and feed a family. And so he started to go into a store, have business. And and that's how he was able to start buying land himself and buying real estate on his own, right? And so he's definitely the definition of what you would call self-made. And when he started to go into real estate, he built a house for each of his daughters. So he had 5 daughters, and he named the eldest one after his mother, who was deceased. And he through his real estate, he taught my father, who is his daughter's husband, and through that came me, who learned by watching what my father was doing and watching what my grandfather was doing, and under his guidance, he was able to impart things to my father that I learned, so his legacy lives on. So I know a lot of people don't venerate or respect or appreciate, but I understand the thread of my ancestors, right? Because I didn't being able to build this house and being able to complete this task and complete this mission, it didn't come about by accident. I didn't find this house by accident. I'm sure other people saw this house and walked away from it and said, whatever else them are doing something like this. I'm sure people saw this broken down, dilapidated, mash up thing and said, I don't have the skills or the knowledge or the experience to take on something like this. And most of what I used to build this house is what I learned when I was 5 years old, when my father was building our second house right next door to us, right? So for me, my grandfather has a place in my consciousness, and his mother has a place in my consciousness. So being he was born on Christmas Day, I find my own way of respecting him. And being that his mother died on the day after Christmas, I have my own way of honoring her. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'll never come back out here with like perfume or anything upon my body. Hey babe, Merry Christmas. Yes. So I wanted to give those of you who have like doubts about like Christianity, ancestor, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just do what you feel is right in your heart to do, because these people are in you. They're not somewhere in a hole. They live their life, they have their experiences, and it is imparted in you. Their blood is in you, their DNA is in you, their experiences are in you. Everything that you are was already here, right? And so draw on that knowledge and draw on that know-how, right? Because a lot of us see things. A lot of us say nobody never showed them nothing, or my parents didn't show me anything. They didn't show you, and they didn't teach you to talk English, but you talk English, right? So there's a lot of things that weren't taught to you, but you see it. You see it in your everyday life, and maybe you just didn't have the tools to process it on the level that you wished you would process it on. But by the same token, right, look over your collective memories and collective history, of what it is that was given to you. I learned so much from my grandfather. I learned a lot from that dude, and we didn't always see eye to eye, but he didn't get away from my inquisitiveness. He didn't get away from my fastness to try to interview him and ask him about this and that. you know. And one of the things that blows my mind is when he met my grandmother, she had already like 5 or 6 kids when he met my grandmother. And he was determined to marry her. He was determined to have her. And she was determined not to have him. She was determined that she was not going to have him. She had already had her children. She didn't want any more. She didn't want this guy, this dude from nowhere who was nobody. And he went away. He went on farm work to America. He went to Connecticut to save up enough money to come back and marry her and buy land and do all he needed to do. So he went and labored for this woman that already had children before him, right? And it just talks about his tenacity, that he had it in him to do what was easy, and instead he did what was hard for what he wanted. So I respect him. I respect him a lot. I respect him a lot. That was my boy. When I was a teenager, I used to spend a lot of time with him. We talk about a lot of stuff. He told me things my mother never told me. He gave me information my father never told me. That was my old boy. But I learned a lot from that dude. So if you got your people that you can learn from, that you can talk to, that you can get information from and ask them about stuff, don't just leave them in a home somewhere. Talk to them. Find out stuff about them, their history, their background, their experience. Learn about them. When is their birthday? Like, his story blows my mind. It blows my mind that he was born on Christmas Day, his mother died the next day, and then he was raised by his mother's sister, who was also his uncle and his father at the same time. So his mother was also his uncle, his aunt, and his brothers and sisters were his cousins and brothers and sisters at the same time. And like, the stuff that he went through, from him, I know I'm not made of no cheap shit. I'm made of something else. So spend your time with your old folks. Learn as much as you can from them. You're not gonna have them forever. That was my boy, and I miss him. I miss him a lot. But anyway, I'm glad that he put so much in me that I could see stuff and know who I am and know what I am. And nobody can make me or break me or bend me or turn me into something that I'm not, or twist me or reconfigure me. And that's just him. I'm not talking about the rest of them, because I know the rest of them. But him, he was self-made in all his ways. In all his ways. He had nobody to give him anything. But he gave so much. He gave a lot. He gave a lot to me. He gave a lot to my dad. He gave a lot to us. That was my boy. I used to call him old boy. Ah, man. Anyway, respect your old people, right? That's why I feel like no matter what, there are just certain things that I would not do, could not do, certain lines that I do not cross, certain people that I would not offend. You know, he didn't have any like big education. But at the time of his passing, he was a millionaire. He had multiple real estates. You know, so I know I'm not made of no cheap shit. But anyway, it feels good to know that I have him in here. And I always remember his mother because he never knew her. And I know that hurt him a lot. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna go have a shower. Thank you so much for watching. How do I end this? Because I've never done like a YouTube live. I've always done like a live on like StreamYard. How the hell do I end this? Alright, y'all. Let me see if I can leave you with some sunrise, and something. How do I end it? Okay. Alright, y'all. Bye. Yes, I want to stop streaming.